so much. Beautiful. Hey, hello. It's all done, isn't it? You're exactly correct. Carla said, I can go ahead and sit down now. And I completely agree with her. But I'm a minister, so I'm going to go ahead and have to say a few words. Okay. All right, now look here, girlfriend. Oh, my God. What a beautiful day. What a wonderful morning. Thank you all so much for being here. Welcome to Harmony Spiritual Center. Those of you who are here in person and blessed by this beautiful musician and his great song, and of course our beautiful band that backed him up. And those of you who are listening and watching on Facebook, or if you're watching on our website, we appreciate that. Or if you watch a little bit later on YouTube, thank you so much for being here. We are a spiritual center, as Carter has already explained. That's what we do. We teach. And so this morning, I want to talk to you a little bit about, we're just always talking about how to make our lives great. Like, what do we need to do to go to the next level? Last week, Pat did a great talk on the 4 stages of spiritual growth and development, and I just loved it. The first one is to me, where you're a victim, things are happening to me, like it's outside of you. And the second one, of course, are things are happening by me, where I get to direct universal law, and I get to direct God. And the third one she talked about was things are happening through me, where I just remember who I am. We remember who we are and allow the greatness that is God and all the gifts that are ours to flow out. We just allow it. And the fourth and final thing is the one that comes back and forth to me between allowing and doing number 4, which is God as me. Just stepping into a room and knowing wherever you are, God is. The I am is everywhere. I am. And so knowing that and calling in to our lives, whatever it is we want to call in, and whatever we can believe, we know that the universe is abundant, that God is source, substance, and supply. Everything you need is God, and you are an individualized expression. So all of that is with you now and everywhere you go at any time. So today I want to talk about the power of love. This is a love month, February, and I'll be talking about love. And it's also my favorite topic, because I think that if you understand that, there's nothing else to understand, because love is all. That's what I talked about last time I was here. Love is all. And I want to share with you a little bit out of Emmett Fox's book, Constructive Thinking. He says that love casts out fear. Love is absolutely invincible. It cannot be broken. Love conquers all difficulties. It opens all the doors. It bridges all the gulfs. It knocks down walls. It redeems all of us for whatever errors in judgment we may be making. So no matter how hopeless the outlook may be, how muddled or tangled, how great you believe the mistake is, a sufficient realization of love will dissolve it all. And if you bring love into all things, you will be the happiest and most powerful being in the world. If all you do is know love. That's all you need to know. So I was watching a little clip from Steve Harvey. I don't know how many of you go down the rabbit hole that is YouTube. But I was on there watching one thing, and I just kept flipping anyway. So Steve Harvey, a little clip from him, from his show. I'm not really sure which, he has so many shows. The man gets up like at 3 o'clock every morning, and he has like 4 or 5 shows that he does every day. It's unbelievable, the energy this man has. And one of these shows, oh, there you go. Were you guys hearing me before? Yeah. It's coming and going, it's coming and going. Oh, coming and going, all right. So Steve was talking about, he's talking about money, when you loan money to people. And this, you don't have to raise your hand, because I'm sure it's happened to you. So you loan money to people, fine, loved one, whoever you loan it to. And then, they're slow at paying you back, if at all, until you actually just don't even get paid back. It trickles in, and then it just stops altogether. So he says he does something called a buyout. And this happens when that very person who borrowed money from you didn't pay it back, and now wants to borrow more. So he says this is what he does. He forgives the original debt, just forgive it. He gives them the money they're asking for, and he says, and this is our buyout. We're no longer, you're just no longer available. This well is no longer available. We're still friends. I love you and all of that. But this is our buyout. And feel free, I love you, and this is yours. Don't worry about it. Just forgiven, this money is yours. Don't you worry about a thing. And that's what he calls a buyout. So this same thing happened to me. And for me, when you look at it from a place of love. So that's kind of a logical thing. It's a human thing to do, to say, I don't want to keep dealing with this person, so I'm just going to buy him out, and I'll feel good about it. And this is nothing against him, but this is how I see it. And the reason why I see it is because I was loved first. Yes, I did the exact same thing. When I was young, as we all are, we have no monies, and we don't know where. I literally did not know where the food was going to come from on my table. And my uncle loaned me some money. Now, it was $50, but it was back in the 70s, so that was a lot of money. All right? I mean, it bought me some groceries, and every intention of paying him back. But here's the thing about people who need to borrow money: not good with money, right? Not necessarily good with money. So, yes, my intentions were all there, but I never paid him back. He never said a word about it, and in fact, loaned me more money. And didn't just gave me gifts of money. He could see my situation and gave me money because he loved me. Because he loved me. And he died. I never paid him back the money. And this is the reason why I'm so clear about, number one, paying anybody back anytime, and I don't borrow money, but if I do, you're going to get paid back because I'm loving him now. I'm loving them forward for what he loved me. Understand? And I don't care. If you borrow money from me, you never pay it back, you never pay it back. The rule that I have is this: if I can't afford to lose it, I won't lend it. Simple as that. If I can afford it, then you can have it. But if it takes out of the things that I'm trying to do, the bread on my table, whatever, then of course I'm not going to do it. But if I have it, baby, it's yours. It's yours. Because that's, to me, what love looks like. I'm not going around judging people. I see who you are. I see that you're an individualized expression of God. And if I look at you with the eyes of love, and we're going to talk about what that looks like, but if I look at you with the eyes of love, then there's compassion there. There's compassion there. And I see that you're doing the best that you can. And so if you have compassion for someone, there's no need to forgive them because you're not mad to begin with. Do you see that? If you look at someone with the eyes of love and you have compassion for them, then there's nothing to forgive. Forgiveness comes, or the need to forgive, comes when you're judging someone. When you're judging someone. They did this to me. They're bad people. They need to do this or that for me. That's a judgment call. But if you look at someone with the eyes of love and compassion, there's no need to judge them. So then there's also no need to forgive because there's nothing but love there. It's a big concept. It really is. But I'm going to share with you how that works and how you actually do it. I've had some experience, and I shared with you before, and I'll share with you again today, particularly when you are in a long-term relationship. A long-term relationship. It ebbs and flows. Sorry, it goes up and down. Sometimes you look at a person like, why the hell are you still here? And, right? I'm sick of you. Sorry, that's how you look at it. And then sometimes you go, oh my God, my baby, my love. It just ebbs and flows. It ebbs and flows. So how, do you keep that going so it's not where you're looking at them like, can I pack your bags? You're not looking at them like that. So I'm going to talk about that. But what I want to talk about is that if you look at someone, if you know who you are, an individualized expression of God, and you know who they are, then you know that God is, and you are, infinite source, substance, and supply. That means whatever you need is available to you. So if you have something, you could flow it out to someone else. You're simply the conduit for the abundance of God to go forward. You're just a conduit. That's all. And if I need more, I'm open and okay. Hey, there's more coming. I've got something going on, and I'd like to have the money to do that. I was looking at my bank account today, and a couple of days ago, I'm like, where'd this come from? Why is this? Okay, well, thank you, God. I have no idea. I have no idea why. And then I was looking at somebody. I kept getting these little buzzes. Hey, somebody put money in your PayPal. Really? Why? Okay, well, you know what? I don't care about why. I'm open and receptive. Thank you very much. Just let it flow. Just let it flow. That's how it works. So That's what love looks like. That's one of the things that it looks like. And we'll talk about it. We're going to do an exercise in a minute to have it show up. But the takeaway from that story about Steve is just that love, when you love somebody, you forgive and forget. And I have conversations with people that believe that you can forgive somebody and not forget. And there are people with long memories. I get that. I'm not one of them. It's easy for me to, if you're telling me something, and then when you tell me, say, hey, don't tell anybody else. The moment you tell me, I let it go right out of my head. I just let it float out. And so that's what I'm able to do. That's a personality thing. I'm able to do that. Not everybody is. But I tell you, if you can't forget, then there has to be some way for you to take the sting off of when you remember, right? The sting has to come off. That's true forgiveness. So then when you remember it, there's no angst about it. That's what we're doing. So if you can't forget, at least let's let go of the sting if we can. And I'll talk to you about how we do it. John 13:34 and 35, it says this. Jesus said, a new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you. As I have loved you. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if you have love one to another. So when people see the love coming from you for them, they realize this is God in action. They see the love. The very same thing, if someone talks to you, and we talk about this all the time, it doesn't matter what people say. It's what's going on behind what they say. It's the energy behind that. And we all can feel that. You can say whatever you want to say. But I see you, I hear you, I know what you're actually saying, and everybody does. Everybody does. So when you love someone unconditionally, it lifts their heart, and they know they are being loved. And when you say that you do, hey, it's okay, don't worry, don't owe me anything, but you're judging, they can feel that too. They know it. We all know it. So we can't hide from one another. That energy is there. So to love somebody, they'll know it too. They'll know it, and they'll feel that you love them completely. And I can't tell you how much, unless you have been loved, which I believe everybody in this room has. If you have been loved, and I think there are people in the world that haven't, if you have been loved, you know the power of what love can do. And that's what we get to do. We get to be the first to love. We don't have to wait for someone to love us first. We go in and we see somebody and we show them our love. That lifts them up automatically and shows them what love looks like, because they may not know. And that's not the reason to do it. The reason to do it is because you are and they are individualized expressions of God. And you just show up and love first. So I was living in on Lake Whitney in the late 90s. And Jason and I were going through what you go through. We've been married a while. And I was sick of him. So anyway, so I was outside, and it was beautiful. So the lake was in front of me, and beautiful blue sky and sunshine. And we were, there was tents in the house. And so I just said to George, I said, George, how do I love my husband through this? How can I love my husband through this? And George said, how do you love your children? And I thought about that. Is there anything that my kids can do that I would fall out of love with them? Not a thing. Not a thing. And when he said that, I thought that makes so much perfect sense, and I pulled up my kids' face, both of them. I pulled up their face, and I felt what my heart felt like when I was loving them. And I thought, okay, then love Jason the same way. That energy that you have for them, love him the same way. And it saved us, because, well, we're divorced now. We would have been divorced back then. So we had a few more good years before that, before that happened. Before that happened. And I still love him. The love has not changed. It's not changed. We're not together, but it doesn't mean we don't love each other. We're still friends, and we still love each other. We just don't live together. That's all. And that's okay. So that's how I understood about what love feels like. I'm going to come back to that in a second. But the other thing I want to bring up is this. This is very helpful. My brother-in-law said to me, he was talking about, actually I heard him, overheard the conversation between him and my sister. And she was upset about something that was going on. And he said, They're doing the best they can. The person is doing the best they can. And she said, no, they're not doing the best they can. And he said, yeah, they are. Everybody, this is what I was, what? Everybody is at 100%. Nobody's walking around at 75, 50, 20. Everybody's at their 100%. Thing is, their 100% may not be yours. And that is the reason why we end up judging or thinking that they're not doing their best. But they are. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is great. So I started thinking about my dad and the issues that we had. And I thought, okay, so you know what? He was doing the best he can. My father had issues from his childhood. And when my brother-in-law said that, I reflected back on my father. And I know how much he loved me. I know that. I know how much he loved all of our children, all of his children, all of my sibs. And I thought, okay, so when I understood that he was at 100%, then there was compassion. Then compassion showed up because I was no longer judging him and saying, he's not doing the best he can. Yeah, he actually was. So what happens now when I look at other people, I think, all right, they're at 100%. They're doing the best they can. So I can let go of judging anything that's going on. I don't have to judge it. I can just love it and move on. And that, I believe, is what's going to make the world unite when we can all do that. I was coming today on the road, and this, I'm not going to say it works 100% of the time, so let me just say that. Still a human being. So I'm driving up and on the road there, and it's fairly open. It's Sunday morning, okay? It's open. And it's wide open around me, behind me, everywhere. And this guy just drove up. This is me. He drove up, like that, and then just at the last minute, got over to the side, got over to the next lane, and then got just in front of me and boom, back in front of me. And I thought, what an a-hole. That's a judgment. Sorry. That's a judgment. But I recognize that. And as he was going down the road, I said, okay, don't do that. You don't know what's on the man's mind. You don't know what the person is going through. Let it go. So even if in the moment you can't do it, think about doing it later. Because it's about your heart, right? And you are sending the energy of love out. So this becomes something that we decide on. Do you get that? That's what we get to do. We get to decide who we're going to be. And if we can't be that at any moment, we can go back and think, okay, what happened there? Because this is who I want to be. And forgive yourself. Don't keep hanging on to that. Just forgive yourself. Let it go. It didn't work out the way you wanted it to. There'll be another opportunity. There'll be another opportunity. And I'll live the way that I would like to live. You can live the way you want to live. Forgive yourself for the errors that we make. And know that you are an individualized expression of God. You are capable of loving everyone you see. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to have this little exercise where you learn how to love and do that little thing that I did with Jason. So what I'd like for you to do is to just take a moment, take a deep breath, let it out, and think of someone you love unconditionally, whether it's your child, a grandchild, a beloved pet family member, a grandparent, it doesn't matter. Just pull up the face of someone you love, and no matter what they do, you're going to love them and have compassion for them. And feel what that feels like in your heart. What is your heart? Feel the energy of your heart as you see their face in front of you. The love that is there for them from you. Just hold on to that feeling for just a second. Now, imagine a difficult person in your life. And don't make it the worst person in your life. Just someone that's difficult. Just someone that's a little difficult. Every time you see them, there's maybe a little bit of angst. That's all. Just pull that face up. And as you look at that face of the person that gives you angst, look at them the way you just looked at that beloved, with the energy that you had in your heart for that beloved. Just replace that energy and that face with the love you felt for the beloved. Just feel it. And look at them as if you were both, and you recognize you are both individualized expressions of God, and you are looking at God incarnate. And breathe in and breathe out. And what we're looking to do is to look at this person anew with compassion in our hearts and recognize that they are at 100%. They're at 100%. So let us have some compassion for whatever they may be struggling with, because we all have struggles. We all have struggles. And whether they know they're struggling or not, they are. So we just breathe in, and let's go ahead and pull up the face of our loved one once more, that beloved, and feel that energy of love. That is the feeling that you want to have when you look at others. That's what it feels like when you look at the face of God in others. Now, how does that change your heart? When you think about that, when you pull up the face of a loved one and put it on to someone you're having difficulties with, how does that change how you see them? What you can do? And if it hasn't, that's okay. This is an exercise. It's not a one-off. Remember how to do this. And every time someone comes up in you, whether it's someone at the store that's aggravated, this person that was running up on me on the highway, you can do it any time. Just see them and feel the same thing you feel for someone you love unconditionally, and feel that love for them. Just put it on them and feel that compassion. It'll be there. It'll be there. So that's our thing for this week. That's the exercise. That's the action step. Try that. Just whenever you're anywhere, whether you are thinking about a family member that aggravates you, someone at work, someone you just run into, just look at them like you look at your loved one and feel that shift in your heart. And you'll probably notice a shift in them. Not always, but you probably will. Notice an energy shift in them as well. That's what love can do. So Emmett tells us that love casts out all fear. It is absolutely invincible. It conquers all difficulties, opens all doors. It knocks down the walls. We sing a song about we will knock down the walls. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. We don't have to go get a hammer. We don't have to be mean. We don't have to do any of that. All we have to do is look at everyone as if they matter, as if we love them. A sufficient realization of love will dissolve all things, all difficulties. If you could love enough, you would be the happiest and most powerful being in the world. Let me give you the final quotes from Mother Teresa. Do ordinary things with extraordinary love. Do ordinary things with extraordinary love. And she says this thing, love begins at home. And it is not how much we do, but how much love we put into the actions that we do. That's what's important. So let us live, this is me talking now, let us live like we know everyone deserves to be loved. And so it is.